think I've done that already. Now check your LinkedIn DM, Simone. The link should be there. The StreamYard link should be there, right? So if you can't find it, then I'll happily bring you now. When you come on stage, I'll happily bring you up. Right, my point, Sandra, is that so we learned enough to understand. It maybe if not speak to respond, but we could always find a way to respond to say what we want to say for some of the other people to understand us. Now I say that about Espanol, right? The thing is that it's the same when I go back to Nigeria. That I grew up in Nigeria, I could speak the language, I could speak Pidgin English as well. Now Pidgin English, broken English, you call it. It's Pidgin. It's a language in itself, right? I can still speak Pidgin now, but I can't understand the local dialect, the local language. But again, last time I went there, I was there for 2 weeks, and I could understand every word. I couldn't speak it back, but I could understand every word, and I could respond in English. I think when we convince ourselves that the way we talk, people want to understand. I think it's our inner insecurities more than the reality. The reality is that people will understand if we try to communicate with them as best we can. So we need to get over this language hurdle. Because, like you said, no one speaks perfect English. No one is, no one is. There's not one type of English. Like, when it comes to the UK, you find out, the way I talk is more South London, and the way they talk in the Midlands, the way they talk, even where I live in Cornwall, it's a different accent completely. Now, if you go around the country, people say different words for different things. You go to Scotland. I'm totally lost. They're still speaking English. If I listen carefully enough, I understand what they're saying. But they speak like a whole different dialect of English, and I can't let that affect me. All I can do is still be myself and do my best to communicate with people. And but I don't. I try not to have that self-confidence issue that stops people trying to be themselves. Just be yourself and have the confidence that they will understand you. More chance they will. Of course they will. People do, right? Coach, welcome, Coach David. I see you in the studio. Simone's here as well. So let's go to Coach David, and then we'll get to Simone. So, Coach, meet Sandra. I don't know whether you two have met before, but you're both here. So here we are.
Right? Sure. Hi. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I think
you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Hi, David.
Hi, hello.
Hello, how are you? Oh, mute again.
Yeah, hello.
You muted yourself, hello. And then you turn the picture off.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. We can hear you perfectly.
All right. I've been listening to the conversation so far, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for what I call immigration coaching. Beyond the language right. is just one of is the tip of the iceberg. Below the scenes, you got the cultural intelligence of the environment. I mean, that inferiority complex you see around language is coming from the fact that the cultural context, the social constructs, isn't well understood. That is the bigger issue. That I have an accent and all of that is just a symptom of the problem. There are people with accent here in the UK, but they've been here for years. But because they know the system, they are much more confident than someone than I, who probably am a little bit more fluent than they. And really, what's fluency? Fluency is like you said, Emmy, all around England, they are different. I mean, you go to Manchester, you hear something else. I'm here down in Wales, you hear something else. In central London, I mean, I've heard all sorts. I've heard all sorts. And for the immigrant, they are all very, very confusing. Thank you, Michelle. How are you? They are all very, very confusing. The key is to understand the social constructs and to find someone that can help you with the cultural intelligence. Mm-hmm. And there are other subtle parts of language anyway. There's a smile a British person can have that means you're stupid. or you are a clown. And you may not know that's communication. There's this sorry smile. This sorry, I don't know how to make that face. It's a sorry smile. Once you see that face, it can take you 12 years or 15 years to know that that's not a welcoming smile. Like when you sit when you're in the bus and you sit in the people that are disadvantaged, people that are uh, um, people who are on wheelchair where they should be sitting, and then there's a look. People in the bus are looking at you. And that's language. That's language. That's telling you stand up. Or why would you do that? But you don't even know. And it will take you 15 years. And there's another one where someone says something like, David is slightly irritated. Oh, David is mildly ill. In Africa, that means, he's just slightly sick or just a little bit. In the UK, it means he's really, really mental. So it's a battle for meaning and social construct and context. And there's a need for people who are coaches and who can understand the construct of your confusion. So if you're from Dominican Republic originally, or you're from South Africa originally, a South African who has been longer in the UK and who understands the corporate environment and the context of the places you want to be. Is it business? Is it markets? Whatever the new construct of the new environment will be, someone who has been in that environment for enough, who understands your own confusion. Like it took me a long while. I mean, I used to argue that slightly depressed means that slightly depressed, but was an uncle who had been in the UK for many years said, no.
Oh, I think you froze. I think we lost David. Annie, are you speaking?
So when it comes back, then we'll let him carry on.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting, his chair.
Yeah. I'm sure there is, I guess, it's that social
Hello.
awareness. You're back. We lost you for a second.
We lost you for a moment.
Yeah,
carry on.
yeah,
Please carry on.
yeah. So the environment and the social construct and meaning beyond words, beyond phonetics, the cultural intelligence, the social construct. There are many British jokes that I can't laugh about because I don't understand it. And there's the one that is going to be 2 years. I mean, somebody made a remark to me. I used to live in Manchester about 3 years ago. Someone made a remark to me. It's just 3 months ago that I understood the statement. And I was alone in the bedroom and I started laughing at myself, alone. Now, there are people that it's only after 10 years you understand that, so that was a mistake. Or, now, someone that understands your confusion and your own original contexts and where you're coming from, like Annie, you understand how we Africans are. So you understand how to talk to an African and how we are struggling. I don't know where Sandra is from originally. You also understand the confusion of anybody who comes from that into the UK, for example. And same for Canada, same for the United States. So I think there's a room, and because we're in the global economy, migration will continue for a while. And the volumes are large. I think there's room for what I call cultural context coaches for immigrants. We need them. I mean, people are struggling with getting jobs. People are struggling with. I mean, in Africa. Let me give another example. In Africa, if somebody says that you're not fitting into you're very good at your job, but you're not fitting into the cultural context of the company. In Africa, you can still survive. Or they say it's pretty good. You can be there for 25 years. They say, let's just help him. But in the United Kingdom, if someone says you're not a cultural fit for the environment, you're struggling with the environment, that's the end of the job. You're going to be sent out. It's a matter of time. From that day, it's going to be 3 months maximum. It's a cheap way that immigrants are being shown the door. And there's a way it's done. There's psycho-emotional bullying in the workplace. They begin to ostracize you, treat you differently. If you respond by withdrawing too, which is what we do in Africa. If you don't talk to me, I don't talk to you.
Mm.
Come to the office, I say good morning. I don't talk to you too. In the UK, no, 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 no. You find a way of coming back into the system again. But many Africans are going to be, no, I know my job. What nonsense? How dare you treat me that way? No, you're going to lose the job. So I'm saying that because I'm still of immigrants suffer. There are so many jobs and opportunities, but immigrants cannot loop in because of that context. So that language part is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the layer of understanding, meaning, context, there are places you can go where you can see opportunities. There are interesting places. The best jobs, as any would know, because we here many years, are not advertised. There are the good clubs and the good relationships and the good networks where jobs are, where they're looking for who will do the jobs. And there are people that can also help you enter those places. But if you don't network enough and you don't even identify that, many people don't even know that's a problem they are facing. They don't know that's the problem they are facing. They don't even know that this is the name of the problem. So those are the things I like to add. I've been listening on the other side, and thank you so much. Immigrants would need this, and I think the next one we should shout to many of our friends all over the world to come into the room because there's a lot of challenges going on here. Thanks so much.
Thank you, David. You have great insights. Thank you so much for sharing with us and about the social construct and and the layers of the problem is like you said is language is just a small part of it, and is the bigger problem is how do we adapt, right? And I'm glad that I think Simone was listening to this conversation. If she's still there, it will be great that she
Still
can.
here. She's next, so she's still here.
Oh, that would be great because yeah, she has been an immigrant in different parts of the world, right? I have been an immigrant only in the U.S. She has a lot of experience and she can share with us how it's in other parts of the world. But I really appreciate David's comments, and I agree that immigrants are never gonna stop. We live in a global world where people is going to be moving countries for jobs, and we need to find ways to find help, whether it's with mindset to be able to adapt and to really understand that we are humans, and for that only reason we are worthy, and it's a matter of learning to adapt to these new cultures, the way that things are done in other places, and really come with an open mind to learn those new things, including the language. But I like that David points out something even deeper today. Thank you for that.
I guess even as a British-born person here, that growing up in Nigeria, everything you say, that's why I was laughing there, Coach David. Because when I came back at 13, you realize that there are cultural specific things that you just don't know. I just did not know, and I will, there's some things I will never know. I accept this. I'm saying, I think, so my wife now, she's British, right? So the things she knows, TV programs she knows, I will never know. The terminology, some terminology she knows, I will never, I wasn't here. So as an immigrant, I think we have to accept we don't know what we don't know. Some things, as you say, Coach David, we'll learn with time. Some things will suddenly dawn on us. But that's that we have to give ourselves that space to learn those things. And the fact that we don't know the intricacies of a culture that we're not born in, it's not a bad thing. I think we just know. Let me give you an example. Let's say when I came back here at 13, of course I had to go to school, right? I went to school, and there were kids who were saying stuff. And I didn't know what they were. I didn't get it. They were being racist, basically, and I didn't understand it. I used to literally walk around and go to the teacher, that kid's got a problem. That kid's got a problem. I don't know what the problem is. Obviously, the racists are trying to make me feel bad. But I'm just like, I don't. I'm a black kid, and so what? In Nigeria, racism is not a thing because it's just not, right. So I just didn't understand what the context they were coming from, even what they were saying to try and be rude. I say no. I mean, that's the sort of way that as immigrants we have to try and live. Almost ignore the weirdness, ignore the things you don't understand, ignore the things that might look strange or feel strange, and push on regardless. This is why I say it comes back to your self confidence and your mission. If you're clear about your purpose, then just carry on with that. If someone doesn't get it, maybe I will say we need to find someone who we can rely on to help us understand the culture. Maybe that's a useful way to go. I think that's a useful way to go. And the last I'll say, Coach David, I'm lucky to have two of the best cultural coaches in the studio with us. And I say that Sandra is the best mindset coach. That's why we're doing this room, right? In terms of helping people in the workplace, and whether they're corporate work professionals or whether they're entrepreneurs. So Simone, she's a genius at helping people with the everyday things. Literally, day-to-day living things that immigrants might need. Simone is definitely there to help. And of course, now I would say reach out to them. I think that's our message, right? Reach out to people who can help you to yes, understand the culture, but I think these two people do more than that. They help you find yourself. I think that's the key, right? It's finding yourself in your new culture. It's not necessarily losing yourself in the culture. And I know what I'm trying to say. So, I think it's more find yourself, find your place, with your qualities, with your uniqueness, with your difference, to feel comfortable rather than just trying to blend in and forget. Like you said, I can't forget I'm Nigerian deep down, even though I'm as British as they come. But that's life, right? Let me stop talking now. Let's talk to Simone.
Yeah. Hi,
How you
Simone.
doing?
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? It's beautiful here in the Atlanta metro area. It's nice to join you finally, Sandra. I'm so happy to be on your program.
Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
loving the conversation. This is my cup of tea.
Wow.
Um, I love Coach who spoke earlier, um, and the conversation regarding issues surrounding accent, right? So I will say, all right, so I've been in the US now 25 years and lived and worked in Mexico, in Sierra Leone, Ghana, Cuba, and traveled to different places, right? So for me, after leaving my home country and trying to make sense of the adjustment challenges that I was having, it was very painful for me. And can you believe it took me literally about 15 years before I actually found the language and the words to really figure out that culture shock was at the root of what I was experiencing. That disorientation of just you're just not yourself anymore. You just can't quite fit in. You're learning the language. And of course, I was fortunate to move from one English speaking country. I'm an Afro Caribbean from Jamaica, living in another English speaking country, but I learned British English. And so that there is a gap there that you need to transition over to the American style of speaking and learning the different expressions and so forth. And then I went into an international career that made it even more complicated. I lived in Mexico and worked in Mexico City for 2 years in Spanish, and as you know, English and using English and Spanish at the same time. And so that intensified my feelings of culture shock, right? First to the United States and then to Mexico. But in the middle of having fun and enjoying the culture in both places, after a while, I realized I was just losing bits and pieces of myself, my confidence, just not quite feeling like I belonged anymore. And so that disorientation is real, right? And as Coach mentioned earlier, learning and being able to decode that social construct that exists in each country that you go is so vital, so that you don't take things personal, people's behavior personal. And don't get me wrong, there are biases. There is such a thing as accent bias. Um, and it's definitely real. And particularly in our country right now, when you're having so much going on around immigration, and there's a lot of anti immigration sentiments globally, actually, right?
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of people who are very loud with the fact that they don't want you in their country, and they don't bother to ask you if you're legal or not. They just assume that everybody's illegal and that you're coming to take their jobs and a lot of other things. And so that can be challenging for a person, and for a young person in particular, like myself, who came here trying to go to school and just wanting to do well. But it took me seeking out coaching, doing a lot of reading, listening to podcasts, starting my own podcast. And I will tell you, as Sandra and the other lady who was up front speaking earlier, talking about being comfortable with using your voice. When I started my podcast 3 years ago, I literally could not bear hearing myself my first few episodes. I had this reverberation through my body. I couldn't stand my voice because I had never recorded myself and listened. And it took me just pushing through it until I tell you today, I love how I speak when I listen to my very own recordings as I interview other people. After 180 episodes doing the immigrant experience in America, interviewing immigrants across the globe, mostly in the US, but humanizing the experiences of immigrants across the globe. But it is, you have to push past that disorientation. It's important for you to find a community where you feel like you can be yourself in the middle of that place of just not fitting in most of the social settings that you will find yourself, whether it's at work, church, name it. But it's important to find, whether it's your countrymen, some friends who will just accept you for just how you sound. It's important to have that little place of belonging that you can just escape to find a place to just breathe. And that will give you time in order to build that confidence to then start learning the culture, asking questions, being curious, sharing your own, and developing that confidence that you need to then step out when you're at work, when you're in other social settings, to develop that confidence that you need to survive and thrive, really. Um, but I totally, totally love the conversation, and I recommend my book. I really do talk about my journey of disorientation and cultural and adjustment challenges, moving from one country and working internationally and living in the United States. So, decoding America and coming home to yourself. It's so important for you to recognize the power that lies in what you already bring to the table. And by that, I mean where you come from, what you look like, what you sound like, your accent, your hair texture, whatever it is that you feel like causes you to stand out like a sore thumb in that culture, you have to learn to embrace it. Because I tell you, the moment you accept that this is just who you are, this is what I bring to the table, others around you, when you change, things around you change and others around you change. And so it starts with you. You can't necessarily, some people might choose to lighten their skin because they think they might be accepted by others. But I tell you, that internal battle will never go away until you come home and accept yourself fully. That accent that just makes you stand out as soon as you open your mouth. Just embrace it. It's who you are. That's what you bring to the table. It's your superpower. You are a hybrid of your birth country and your adopted country. And I tell you, once you accept those two, that dynamic of being a hybrid of these countries, you have such a power a superpower to now use that to become a bridge person, to help others get perspective about your birth country, and then also the perspective that you've now gained now living in an adopted country. So I encourage you, embrace who you are, embrace your heritage, come home to everything that you are, and embrace the new country that you're now living in and the additions and value that you're going to bring to any room that you enter in, because it is your superpower. So thanks for listening. Check out my book and my podcast.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to be in this space. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Simone. You said it beautifully. I love how you said it, and I that was also my experience until I understood that I needed to embrace my immigrant journey and really, like you said, come home to my own authentic self. That's when I think my mindset and everything start changing for me. And one thing that I come to realize is that we talk a lot as an immigrant. We talk a lot about belonging, right? Belonging at the workplace and or everywhere. We want to belong, and I think we all got belong wrong. I think people think of belonging as being accepted in places, as being accepted the way you are. But belonging, I think, is creating is created. We create belonging, and just as you said before, by really becoming that bridge between two cultures, or more, how many you have in you, is becoming that bridge, teaching the other cultures about yourself. And we can not accomplish that until we really overcome the self-doubt. By overcoming self-doubt, and this is why I choose to work with self-doubt and building unstoppable confidence and own your worth. That is the program that I offer and the coaching that I'm doing right now as a coach for professional immigrants. I believe that achieve, when you overcome self-doubt, then other things can start happening. When you overcome that self-doubt and you have a little more confidence, you can open up yourself to network with people without feeling less than. Just start trying to adapt, to connect with people and growing from that. It's not going to be perfect the first time, but you grow. So that's why, and also because in my journey in the corporate world, I noticed this crisis of confidence, especially in the immigrant community. People silent and not always participating, and I was one of those too. And I needed to understand how to overcome this, which took me on this journey that finally I got unstuck with my problem, and now I really want to help people to achieve the ones that recognize that they want the help. I'm happy to do that, and I love Simone, how she have put together in this book also help for people that is going through this journey, because there is hope. I once feel like there was no hope for me. I thought everything came to the language, and as David mentioned before, it is more than language. Language is a little part of that. The problem is much bigger. So I'm so glad that Simone and David join us today and really give us these insights.
Yeah, look, I said, I'm totally agreeing with you and Simone. So again, for me, which I'm sure is a reality for most immigrants, the higher you go in a company or in your profession, the less there are of similar people to you. Strange that. That's a reality, right? How often, normally in networking situations, networking events, I walk into a room of 50 people, 100 people, and I'm the only black person there. And the first few times I was not bothered, but I took notice. But after that, I was just like, you know what? It shows sign of progress. It shows sign that I'm getting there. I have something about me. I'm doing something right in business, at least, right? So I learned to just embrace that I am the only one who is like me amongst all these people, and I learned to almost embrace it, enjoy it. Are there people who, now that Simone mentioned, are there people there who are going to be discriminating? Of course there are. But no, they're not my problem. I don't have to associate it with them. And are there people that are going to like me because I'm me? Yes, of course there are. They're the ones I really want to go and talk to and be friends with. I think we just have to accept. It comes down to the self-confidence that you're talking about, Sandra. Self-confidence is the key. Asking for help is easy when you're confident that you're on a journey, and that self-confidence. If I can learn this thing or get the help I need here, I can do more tomorrow. Now, the other way to look at it is to say, oh, if I ask for help, then they'll know I don't know. So that's a whole different conversation with yourself, right? We need to embrace our greatness and our journey and step into it. And, yes, sometimes it's going to be tough, but, we have to get past those tough days. And ultimately, just being yourself is where success lies. And asking for help when you need help along that journey, it can really help us. It can't harm us at all. So I totally agree with you. And it's a reality. Let's look at some of the comments, Sandra, before.
There is one part that we probably, if we want before the comments, or tell me. We wanted to talk about who receives help more, woman or man? Men or women?
Go for it. You got Simone and you got Coach
Because I know
David.
you were very interested in that part.
Of course I am.
All right. Well, yeah. So research says that men resist asking for help more, and you were mentioning this earlier, because of societal expectations, self-reliance, that men is just, if you ask for help, then the manly, right? So yeah, societal expectations play a role in that. But let me share before. And then woman hesitate, according to research. Also, women hesitate in professional settings, and for women, the reasons are the fear to appear less competent, right? That's in the case of women, and in the case of men is for societal expectations. So why men resist help more? Because it seems like men resist more than women, because the strong, capable man expectation, asking for help, is a sign of weakness for men. Fear of losing authority. Leaders often avoid seeking help to maintain credibility. And problem-solving mentality for men. Many men are conditioned to figure things out alone, right? It sounds familiar when you're driving with your husband and he may be lost, but he doesn't want to admit that he's lost, trying to get to a place. The directions, right, is one common thing that they play in the movies. And then for woman, why women receive help more also is, the pressure to prove competence. Women in leadership, they feel they must be twice as good as to be taken seriously. So for that reason, they struggle to ask for help. Also, social conditioning to be caregivers. Many women are raised to be helpers, not to be the ones asking for help. And over reliance on independence. I was mentioning before, the fear that seeking help contradicts their ability to lead. So in social, in working settings, they prefer, avoid asking for help so that their ability to lead is not going to be questioned.
I
So
can I can understand the figures. I can understand. I guess it is. Is it sad? No, it's reality, right? You know, as a man, I have no problem asking for help because I know that I don't want to always learn through my mistakes. Sometimes I want to learn through your mistakes. That's the quickest way, most efficient way to learn anything, right? I must learn from other people than do it all myself. There are many things in life we just don't know. And it's even said in our home countries, you want to call it that. The things that we just don't know. It's just easier to ask for help and accept help. And I think where you started off, Sandra, that the fact that asking for help gives others a chance to shine, to do their God-given work. But again, maybe I think it comes back to us as well. It comes around a full circle. If we don't, if we don't ask for help, it's very hard for people to come to ask us for help. In the business sense, especially, I truly believe that. When I talk to my friends, on LinkedIn, when I got my clients, I tell them meet people who we connect with. Meet them, speak to them. It's not all about you trying to sell to them. Those who need your help, you can try and help them. But the people who can help you, be open to accepting their help too, because that just seems simple logic to me. Whether you're a man or a woman, we have to open to help. Otherwise, we'll close doors to people that could help us, which is rather crazy. So interesting findings. Of course, I'll come to you in a second if anyone wants to comment on that, Simone.
yes, look at the
Yes,
comments.
I will say, look, if you're on my YouTube, my friends, please like, comment, and subscribe. So like today's video, and then comment on today's video, and then subscribe to my channel, please. The numbers looking quite, there's 4 people there, so please do the right thing, my friends. I need more engagement. If you're on Coach David's YouTube as well, do the same, please. Just engage. We need more friends on YouTube. Let me welcome Rosemary. I'm welcome you. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Christiana, welcome. I see you. Say, Ramuseli, you make some amazing comments. So let's go through some of those very quickly. I think Simone mentioned the culture shock. It is a thing. I love that way of describing it. It is it's a slight. A shock is a momentary thing. It can be anyway. It shouldn't be a permanent state of being. A shock is, it's a temporary freeze. Let's not stay there.
Right.
People who don't understand how we speak. Yeah.
Annie, may I?
Of course.
So I just wanted to um, just highlight the importance of finding a coach. And I'm so glad that there's Sandra and the other gentleman, I forgot his name, forgive me, David, who spoke about cultural constructs in your new country. And I also offer a Thriving Abroad coaching program as well. If I didn't see coaching, it took me over 10, 15 years to figure out what I was going through. So if you are new or considering moving abroad, whether it's for studying, working as an international professional, or family reunification, people move across the globe for a myriad of reasons. The UN says it's 281 million people who are moving across the globe as of 2024, right? And so, in order for you to fast track your journey of figuring out that cultural construct that Coach David spoke about, it's essential for you to get the support that you need. And so that's why I'm so happy. I've seen several others who are not in this session, but then David offers coaching, Sandra does, I do as well. There's a few other ladies that I've met recently. It's important for you to find whoever is a best match for you to help support you on your journey, on your immigrant journey. Because I can tell you that culture shock, the research says that the symptoms or impact on you ranges from mild depression up to fatal self-harm. And that's pretty serious. I've actually heard of cases of people harming themselves fatally. So take it seriously. If you're feeling like you're just not feeling like yourself anymore, your confidence has waned, your voice is cracking as you try to speak, you feel you're competent to do your job, for example, but something just does not feel right with you anymore. You just don't feel like yourself like when you were in your former country. And seek out coaching. I really do recommend it because it will fast track you decoding what you're going through, decoding the cultural constructs, decoding the country that you're in, figuring out maybe you're suffering from depression and you might need to seek some other form of clinical therapy. But seek the help that you need to help you land softer in this new country that you are. You don't have to struggle alone. Taking from me, who struggled for almost 2 decades because I didn't know that this research existed, and that's why I wanted to write the book. And it's upon writing my book and doing the research, I was like, oh my gosh, all this research is out here. So reach out to the people who have decoded their immigrant journey to help you then land softer in your new country and to fast track your success. Because I know a lot of people move and they have families and communities who are depending on them to make sure they make big or be successful. And so you don't want to spend years struggling and in pain when you can find help from other coaches around who can help you figure out how to fast track your success. So just wanted to put that out there, okay? Um, don't
Thank
spend years trying to figure it out on your own. I wish somebody had told me, but I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, we have to learn the hard way to pave the way for others to make it easier, because yeah, it takes a long time when you have no guidance coming to this country, just figuring it out by yourself. So thank you so much, Simone and David. I'm glad that you guys are in this field and has choose to work with immigrants, because there is that need out there, and connecting with organizations too, to bring these tools that make easier for the communities to overcome this self-doubt, this belief that they have to hide who they are to be able to make it in the workplace, when it is the opposite that we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to create our
Coach
own.
David,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell him. You tell him that you're not a coach or a coach.
Yeah, I'm not a cultural coach, and certainly I'm going to engage a cultural coach because I think I need one, and he's doing a good job of in the PR media industry. Um, there's also something deep also going on. There's some clans, there's some tribes in code that have done this very well. The Chinese and the Indians, and then the people from the Middle East, Afghans, Pakistanis, Lebanese. they have done well with migration intelligence. They've done very well. The people from the Caribbean, Simon will understand what I'm saying. Sandra, where are you from originally?
I'm from Colombia.
Exactly.
Latin
Colombians, uh, people from the Caribbeans, the Latin Americans, and the Hispanics, and those of us from Africa, we have to develop the same systems that the Indians and the Chinese and the Middle Easterns have done. They have perfected what you call what's that thing when you plant nursery in animal in plant science. When you take somebody when you take a plant from a nursery and then you plant it on the field. You take a plant, you put a seed in the nursery, then you take
Mm.
it from the nursery to plant it in the main farm. So
Okay, it's
they
almost
have
replanting and just building a bigger,
yes,
bigger.
yes, you put a bag and then you put the seed in the bag and then you plant on the field now.
Yeah, I get it, but
Major Indians and Chinese people have social systems. They have their own economies to the point that in the United States of America, Indians, for example, have done so well in IT. They have whole what do you call them now? Whole job agencies, recruitment agencies that are very strong. So they give you that social context, the skill acquisition, the mentorship, the counsel. It is so strong within Indian communities that look, they seldom look for job. Some of them are not even as competent, I dare say, as others would be. But they
yeah,
have a social system. So you have Indians being able to be Indian in the workspace because there's a lot of them and they cluster and they help each other. They don't snitch on each other. They show each other the job processes. It's a deep system. I mean, the people who are going to come to the United Kingdom, for example, maybe in 3 years' time, they are already somewhere training, right in maybe Mumbai or wherever, or Calcutta. I'm sure the names have changed now, but that's so somebody is training them. They're getting ready, giving them the skill sets. And when they come into the economy, there's a house they come into. Somebody is teaching them the skill. Somebody is having a debrief after every interview. Somebody's having a debrief with them. How was the interview? Oh, you're trying to do DevOps. You don't say this way. You don't say that this way. You don't use that word. You don't use this word. This is breathing. You don't do behave like that. So even when they enter the workspace, there is a fellow Indian senior engineer who is there to integrate them from the nursery in quotes into the full stream work. And that person is going to pay you back by bringing it to others. And they also have a financial system. So they own more businesses, they own more corporate organizations, they own a chunk of the economy. If it's look, a Pakistani can come now and own a corner shop in 1 year. There is a fellow Pakistani going to bring him in. So we need to develop those systems among Hispanics and Black people because I think we need more Black money to help our confidence. Because I research, so I go to Black community in Atlanta. I went to the Black community in Atlanta. I went where Blacks were more, the original. Look, I didn't like what I saw in quotes. And so we need to begin to create those kind of systems for those of us who are coming from a certain place so that we are able to help each other faster. It's a deep point. There are Indian communities that have been in the United Kingdom for 200 years, 300, 400 years. They're doing very well. They don't have a business looking for a job anywhere. There is a recruitment firm that knows something. Anyway, all of that will help the conversation into bedding immigrants, the more of this kind of networks that we have. Yeah, that's the other point I wanted to add.
No,
Thank you.
I agree with you. I said it's if you look, I mean, Simone mentioned having a supporting, accommodating community. That's what Mr. says. That we need that community around us. And in the UK, there's London, there's Chinatown almost everywhere in the world. In London, and say up in the Midlands in the US, and there's several Chinatowns, almost in every state. it means something, Coach David. I hear what you're saying, and then I hear, you know, having a community of like-minded people like you, can make settling in easier on one level. Of course, it can. We're saying we might want to argue about whether you want to reach out to other people. I'm sure you do. I'm sure people do. Immigrants do, right? They'll be more assimilated in the community. But there is a definite gap. Now, I can go. I can go to to many parts of London, and you see rows after rows of shops, business owned by one community of people.
Mhm.
You don't get that with maybe you do. Maybe you can get them Hackney with black people. Maybe. But I don't know whether there's enough Hispanics in to have that sort of community in London. I'm sure there are. Do they have that sort of community that's visible? Maybe not. And black people don't tend to want to be seen together. I'm thinking. I'm
That's a
thinking of,
big.
Brixton, Coach David. That was in the past, ethnic minority black people.
Mhm,
Caribbean, and it's been gentrified so much.
mhm,
To see a black person is hard. I was there recently, and I was like, damn, what's that?
yeah, because
Sometimes,
just a bit.
go on, please
Sorry
carry
to,
on.
sorry to cut in. I'm so sorry, so sorry to cut into
No,
you.
please carry
You
on.
just touched on a very, very touchy subject. And thank you, Sandra, also for your contribution so far. Thank you so much. You see, the black communities, that's both Africans and Hispanics and all blacks, we do not want to be seen together. Not only that, we cannot work together. It's a big problem. It's probably the reason why our self-confidence, I mean, that thing you said about you being the only black person in the room is big. One Indian, let me put it this way, metaphorically, if a quarter Indian enters your organization, give him 2 years. If you're not careful, he's going to Indianize you people. You start sounding Indian if you're not careful. He's going to begin to bring his people. He's going to shock you. Anywhere an Indian goes to, there's a spirit of missionary. I'm here on behalf of my people. But when you have black people, we are not ready to work together. And that's why I think Africa remains poor, and the black community. It's togetherness. That togetherness, and don't blame us, we were indoctrinated never to trust each other. Something else happened historically. I don't want to go into that conversation now, but it will help our self-confidence a lot and our integration with what Simona said. We need clusters of like-minded, because Annie, you've been to Africa, you know Nigeria, you know my confusion around slightly irritated, and you know why I'm thinking slightly irritated is just mild irritation. Meanwhile, in reality, it means you're raving mad. You also have the ability, because you've been in England, you also know why the British man is very. Because ask someone, say, why are you guys lying? Slightly irritated is that you're raving mad. Why don't you say, I'm really mad now, so I know what to do? Someone told me, said, no. We are very polite people. In Africa, we are very expressive so that we know what to do. But being over expressive, you can actually, in a case, let's say you're in a riot, because you're very expressive and animated as an African, you can be picked up as the guilty party. An African
And
needs to be told about calmness in the UK.
we have our ways now. When we swear, then we're really annoyed. That's what swearing is for British people, really. If we swear, then
Yeah.
you have to stop and take notice, because it means something's gone desperately wrong, and we're close to breakdown. Coach
Oh,
David, it's a
wow.
conversation we're going to have for a long time. So, and I think the clusters idea, that's it helps communities to feel more at home. And it can protect us from some of the fears, the self-confidence feelings that you mentioned. And it's a strategy for sure. I guess not everyone come from those communities, as we've said, but maybe they exist everywhere deep down. That's my thinking. We just have to go and find them. Make an effort to find our like-minded people. because we're really alone, but we think we are. We like to feel we are the only ones. It's a strange one. Let me welcome David. Sandra, I'll come back to you in a second if that's all right. So there you go. So David's a metaverse genius. So Hello LLC is his company. You want to know what Web3 looks like, then do connect with David for sure. Michelle says, I need to connect with you, Sandra. Please do. Go in the comments, Sandra. Go in the comments, Michelle. Send each other a connection request. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm not one with swear words and gradually creeping in, because it's how we express ourselves in England. And swear words is if I have to swear, like I say, I'm being very serious and I'm jarred. Rather than being a polite English person that I should be. Yeah. It says, "Will I shared experiences with me so I could understand?" No, of course, no. We need to share more. Christine, I see you as well. Welcome, Christine. Christine does what we call death tech. Yeah, think about it. Death and funerals have been the same forever, right? No, whereas funerals have to move forward, and how we remember people, who passed away is changing. So Simone's one of those at the very front end of using technology, so to help us, I guess, wave goodbye to those who have gone and to also remember them in the way that helps us and helps the world, right? Michelle says, "Thank you for being beautiful human souls." That's all of you, my friends. That's you, Coach David. That's you, Simone. That's obviously you, Sandra, as well. Taisha, welcome. Glad you're here. Oh, I don't think you're a new person to me. Betterham. Oh, I don't know. If I get your name completely wrong, please, I'm sorry. Do you mean my book or Simone's book? You can buy my book too. I'm not shy. My book is there, right? On COVID. Why not?
You're very confident.
Now, Simone, you must put the link to your book in the comments. Otherwise, it's very hard. I'm lazy too. So put your book there so people can find it very easily. Okay, so Christine calls herself her service is Bereavement AI, a universal grief companion. You have to check it out to know what she's talking about. It is a gift to the world. I agree with that for sure. Who else do I see that I haven't mentioned yet? I don't want to miss anyone out. But our time is short, though, Sandra. Our time is short. Cristiano says, "Hey, you crack me up." I do. I try and be funny sometimes, right? Go on, Sandra. I give it to you.
Yeah, I think we are over the time, but the last part I have to share, it's there is a link between leadership, emotional intelligence, and asking for help, and why strong leaders ask for help more often than others. And the best leadership don't have all the answers, right? So they just know how to ask for help and the right questions to ask. Studies show that leaders who seek help, delegate, and they are consult experts are more effective than who try to do everything alone. High emotional intelligence help leaders recognize when they need support. So that's how emotional intelligence, that self-awareness is a good strength to help you recognize when you do need help and just ask for help. And leaders who never ask for help, they create three major problems. One of them that we have heard a lot is burnout, right? When we're not capable of asking for help, we try to do everything alone, which leads to exhaustion. And then another problem that leaders can create when when they don't ask for help, they don't know how to do it, they don't have the confidence to do it, they create poor decision making. Because without input from others, they miss crucial insights from other people in the team. And then the third one, problem that no asking for help by leaders can create a toxic culture. If a leader never asks for help, employees can feel they must also figure out things alone. So really the connection, I like this about the connection with, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and asking for help. So then if we have this problem, we should start, like we said before, looking for help, for a coach that will help us to uncover the root cause of this, lack of confidence to ask for help when we need it. Because when we stay silent and try to manage everything alone, we are creating more problems in the organization. We are creating burnout for ourselves, and we are impacting teams also, creating a toxic culture, like I mentioned before.
I think that we really are. Look, now, I guess to add to what you're saying, Sandra, maybe I'm a great leader. That's ignore that bit, right? When I started my business, you know, within 2 months, I was paying a coach. It was from one of the best coaching services in the UK, Action Coach they called. And let me tell you, even though I couldn't afford them, I was paying my coach. And what I learned by running a business from that coach is why I'm still here now. Simone mentioned it took her 15 years to learn similar lessons. I'm saying that's the difference, right? You can either go around and run in circles for years and years and years, or talk to someone who knows more than you do. Someone who can really move you forward, and that's what coaches do. And so I've had many coaches since then. I don't think I've ever been without a coach. To be fair, I said now I'm more working with mindset coaches. I've had lifestyle coaches. I've had many other business coaches in between. I think reaching out to a coach is never a bad thing. And for those who worry about the money, I think the benefits outweigh the costs. Let me assure you. That because it's more than just teaching you something. A coach can change your business. A coach can change your life. And with all that, avoiding burnout, like you mentioned, Sandra, it's important, right? And that's why we get help that we need. And I would say the best leaders surround themselves with the right people who know more than they do. You know that saying. That saying, if you're the smartest guy in the room, then you must be then you're in the wrong room. I really believe that. And if I'm the smartest guy, I'm running out of that room very quick. I'm going to find another room where I'm the dumbest one, because I can learn a lot more from people there. So I agree with you entirely. It is about reaching out for help, and we need help. Welcome, Dr. Leslie Flowers, our mindset genius. Glad you're here.
Hey, Leslie.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Annie. Yeah, and just for the closing, because we are getting to the 2 hours, I have here 3 powerful mindset tips that can help you with the struggles asking for help. So think about these mindset tips when you're struggling with help. Help is a growth tool, not a weakness. The most successful people build support systems. So when you are thinking twice about asking for help, think about, big leaders, very successful, they build support systems. Another mindset shift is start small. Practice asking for help for little things, receiving help with little things, so it becomes more natural for you when your struggle is big time when it comes to ask for help. And then one last one is accept that giving and receiving help are equal part of success. Leaders, they delegate, they collaborate, they leverage other people's strengths. We must adopt a new way of giving and receiving support because success is never a solo journey. Like Annie also was saying this earlier. We cannot do it alone. People have different strengths, so we need to work with these support systems so that we can be successful and be very confident about be around these people. Confident people, they are not getting in, like Annie also just shared, they don't get intimidated by being next to people smarter than them. That's actually a good thing, right? Shouldn't be intimidated when you are fully confident. You understand that we need to be around smartest people next to us. So this is my last point of discussion. And if you want to add anything else, I just have the closings for today's section. And I really enjoy this conversation and the people that was with us today, giving us really important insights in the journey of professional immigrants. So far, this has been the most amazing room that I have from, I guess, 10 that we have, almost 10, I think, or close to 10 audio rooms about this topic, the journey of professional immigrants.
Well, no, lucky to have friends like Simone and Coach David. Coach David, I want that suit, man. I want that suit. I love that. I love ridiculous colors, ridiculous suits. So, ignore that. That's me being me, right? No, I think I agree with Dr. Leslie. No, I think it's important to bear in mind, the level of investment, in coaching or in getting help will exceed or match our level of investment. Full stop. We'll get more than we pay for when you pay for help, when you ask for help. That's the truth. As Michelle says, let's bridge the gap for immigration. Of course I agree with that entirely. Christiana, yeah, okay. Christiana doesn't like anyone swearing. Swearing to me means lack of wide vocabulary to express yourself. Maybe. But it's intentional. We have to have we're intentional, Christiana. But you know this. You're here. You're Britain, so you know, right? Dr. Leslie, it seems like Michelle's coming to your event tomorrow. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining us. My YouTube friends, I love you even more. There's 4 of you on my YouTube channel. Yay! Stay there. Stay there. Every minute counts. Like, subscribe, and comment, please. So now, Sandra, thank you for another great session. They get better and better, right?
I think this was a great topic. Thank you so much, Annie, always for the support and really for helping me with this audio room every other week. And that's how the benefits of asking for help. I remember the first time that we connected and we started this thing. So there you go. The benefit.
Well done, you. Well done, you.
Just to close, Annie, I like to say that for closing the room, one of the biggest mindset shifts that for professional immigrants is learning how to ask for support with confidence. As we were talking earlier, the problem of looking weak or looking weak when we ask for help. The difference is how we ask for help. If we ask with confidence, then it goes a long way. Whether it's networking, in leadership, or in career growth, if the conversation resonates with you and you are ready to step into confidence and own your voice, I like you to connect with me. And if you see value in this conversation today, please DM me, visit my profile to learn more about how I help professionals to break through self-doubt and thriving in this new environment. Thank you so much, everyone that joined us today, and thank you for the people on stage, Simone, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Join us again in 2 weeks' time.
See you in 2 weeks.
Sandra, please go now, like everyone else, go to the comments page, events page, and go to the comment section and see who you want to connect with, and do connect with people there. Like I always said, don't just connect, and then meet people to find out what they really do. You never know. You can't tell what I do from my profile. I can't tell what you do from your profile. Only through conversations do we actually become friends, right? Following is good, Ramon Sele. Following is good, but we need you to connect and have a conversation. That's where everything on LinkedIn really works. Without a conversation, it doesn't. LinkedIn, no social media works. So LinkedIn is a different place. Connect and talk, and to find the point of mutuality where you can support each other, work together. How are you going to move the relationship on beyond just let's not just connect, because that doesn't help anyone, right? Let's connect, let's talk, let's become friends, support each other, and the world's a better place. Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you so much, Simone.
Thank you, everyone.
I love your suit, Coach David. I do love your suit. Would I wear it? I'm not brave enough, I don't think. We'll talk later. Anyway, thank you, everyone. We're going to play our outgoing song. So bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Celebrating with or without champagne or rum, but she's success with global.media.